I will use recycled paper.
Yes.
I will save this planet by using recycled paper.
Yes. Using it. Do you see?
No.
Using recycled paper as not an irony,
all right,
but as they might say, as an in-joke about the project itself. As a self-referential comment.
Why didn't they just save the paper?
Two unrelated plays are two short plays by David Mamet. One is quite brief and very precise, almost like a haiku poem, and that's called School. And the other is a raucous romp of a comedy called Keep Your Pantheon, as you can tell from the title.
He's got that tag for the F word, you know, being the guy who's like, and there's not an F word to be found in either play, so it's kind of shocking.
David's most known for stuff like Glengarry Glen Ross, Speed the Plow, Oleana, American Buffalo. However, this, because I've done a lot of David's plays over the years, this actually harkens back to some of his very, very early stuff. It's not quite as racy and off-color as you'll find with Speed the Plow or Glengarry Glen Ross. It's not that at all.
School is kind of a discourse on living in the information age, you know, and covering all sorts of topics from recycling to energy loss and you know, it's kind of it kind of pokes fun at the whole political correctness thing.
Their minds kind of interestingly sort of, you know, tangle around each other, and they kind of as I said, free associate about everything. You know, they kind of universalize everything that they're thinking about as it relates to administering the school.
Pantheon is just about a bunch of actors who have no money, and they're in the rain, and they haven't got anything to eat, and they're longing for a job, and they've got a student. You know, it's the whole story. They get a job, they lose a job, they get a death sentence, they lose a death sentence, they get the job back, they lose the job back, and then they get the job again.
I like to think of it, for those of you who remember Spartacus with Kirk Douglas and Laurence Olivier, I like to think of it as sort of a parody of that. It's kind of like Funny Thing Happened on the Way to the Forum without the music, but funnier.
I'm extremely fond of it because it's a play that expresses its love for the theatre, which I completely identify with.
What is more precious than wine, you ask? What is more precious than wine?
I got the suitcases strapped down.
1 moment. Say it simply, as it's just occurred to you.
What is more precious than wine? You ask me, I will tell you, cork.
I think Mamet has a real, you know, maybe underrated or underknown passion for comedy. I mean, he also wrote some great, very funny films like State and Maine and Wag the Dog. So he really has an incredible facility with comedy. So it's a pleasure to be doing an out-and-out comedy of Mamet's.
You know, the funny thing about this play is, you know, some of the seats are at a good price, $65, and some of them are more reasonable, you know, but you could probably have any one of the actors for a lot cheaper, you know. And if it's done by volume, you get a real good deal on it.
There's a lot of great theater happening in New York right now, and I think this is very different. In you know, it's ancient Rome, it's silly, we have a sort of vaudevillian take on it. The set is kind of vaudeville-like, so it's a lot of fun, and it's 80 minutes. We drive for the bar.
Don't expect the usual Mamet. That's all I can say.